make some announcement. Colleagues, good afternoon. I think we are a bit late, and we'd like to start now. And then as we go, probably some of our colleagues will still come into the room. So my name is Emrah Ingindenis. I'm working with the Secretariat of the Global Water Operator Partnership Alliances here in Bonn. And today we would like to look at basically discuss the collaboration for sustainable water solutions in water-scarce region, MENA region. We have quite a number of our distinguished guest speakers. I'm going to introduce them as they come through. So before we start, just few highlights on the purpose of this session. As we know, the region is one of the most water-scarce, water-stressed region. Out of 17 countries, 14 of them are actually located in this region. So there is the key really challenge is water scarcity and how we manage our resources more strategically to address those challenges. Today, so we're going to start with the Secretary General of Arab Countries Water Utility Association. Mr. Khaldun is with us. He's on the first speaker. Before this Congress, we had basically three days conference, Arab Water Week, 6 Arab Water Week in Amman, which was also hosted by ACWA, Arab Countries Water Utility Associations. Lots of speakers, lots of themes has been discussed. What we would like to begin is to actually bring some of these key discussions from that 3 days region-specific discussion. And with that, I would like to invite Mr. Khaldun to take us through what has been discussed in Arab Water Week, what came out, what was really the critical suggestion and recommendation from that 3 days discussion, so that if we actually start building and following the conversation we started in Amman. Would you like to use this mic, or you can also use it where you sit, as you like. You want to come here? Okay. Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank Emri and Gupa for inviting me here. Actually, the first partnership was in Cape Town 15 years before, and I was in the steering committee at that time. And we have long traditional working together. Hopefully that by now, we'll again start working together for the benefit of our utilities. As Mr. Emri said about the Arab Water Week, please, who will, me or? Next, okay, خلاص, okay. Some statistics. We have 460 participants, 30 from 34 countries. Number of international organizations, 20, 34 sessions, including 4 high-level sessions for the decision maker. Number of speakers, 150, and exhibitors were 20, sorry. Now, the outcomes of the high-level meeting panels. The first one about focusing on water to poverty and protection. That and protect human rights. The first one was about water scarcity. The outcomes was focusing in water poverty, and water is as a human right for everybody. Water is an important element for achieving security, especially with the shared water resources between countries like Ethiopia, Egypt, Turkey, and Iraq and Syria, applying the principle of integrity, transparency, and anti-corruption. This is the outcomes of the first session. Now the other session, come on, okay, was about water scarcity. For water scarcity, come on. Okay. Sorry. The water scarcity, sorry. The outcomes of that, focusing in improving the efficiency of water resources management, developing of policies for water users, different aspects. It means policies in agriculture, in high-rise buildings, in hospitals, in treating wastewater, etc. Then assuring diversity of financing, because the Arab country is having a big problem in finding financing for their development projects, especially at these times where all the money are spent on the wars. And the outcomes of the high-level panels also were the topic of water scarcity and sustainable development. Increasing the financial revenues of the authority. Yani, most of our utilities are, financially are not able to cover their cost. I'm talking about the Arab countries. Although we have some good examples in Jordan, like Aqaba and Miyahuna, but for the other utilities, most of them, they can't cover. That's why the utility should provide, the performance of utility should be improved by increasing the efficiency, by reducing non-revenue water, by reducing also the energy, and run it efficiently. Okay. Now the outcomes of high level about climate change financing, we have to, again, for climate change, the first time in Sharm el-Sheikh, they admit that climate change is affecting the water effectively. That's why I think to reduce the scarcity due to the climate change, non-revenue water is one of the targets we should take. Addressing also the cost of energy, again, to reduce emission. I have a problem of working in two. Yeah, it's okay, but okay. With SIWI, we have an UNICEF for Iraq. We have a high-level meeting talking about the problems facing the Iraq. The first one was securing resources. The first funding resources to develop a national strategic plan. They don't have a national strategic plan to manage their water resources. Priority for solutions, what we have to, and the obstacles facing water sector, and again, identifying the priorities for project necessity, and making fundraising programs. Okay. Then we had another, some other outcomes from the Arab Water Week sessions. Policies and legislations and reform. There was a high-level session. The importance of data availability for everybody, graduates, for researchers, for everybody. And since water is a key issue for SDGs, water must be included in the national adaptation plan for every country and the national determination contribution NDC plans. Develop mechanism to follow up the outcomes of the conferences, such as UN conference in New York, and the importance of developing water law and regulates. By the way, most of the Arab countries, they don't have water law. Why we need the water law? To define the objectives and the responsibilities of every stakeholders. Who is in charge? Water quality, who's in charge for the environmental, and without water law, there will be intersection and multiplication and duplication of responsibilities for every ministries. Now, outcomes of the General Assembly. After that, we had the General Assembly, and there was a recommendation to host and launch a platform for a twinning between Arab and international water utilities, partnership of global water operators, COPA. The board of directors also accredited this, and there was a resolution in their meeting on the 7th of March to establish this platform. Other outcomes from the General Assembly: create a technical working groups for sludge treatment and for water and food security nexus. The participation and endorse requests for the General Assembly. That all these recommendations will be accredited by the Arab Water Ministerial Council, that's in the Arab League. And after that, it will be included within the Arab Water Security Plan that the Arab Water Week developed, Arab Water Council developed. Of course, conducting studies and make projections for water, energy, food nexus, conducting more studies, finding solutions in the field of reducing the effect of climate change on water resources, adopting governance tools, including water allocation, water budgeting, water climate and water governance. By the way, if we don't have a system to produce your water budget and allocate them for different resources, it means there is no roadmap and tools to define where to put your scarce water. You can't invest in everywhere without making water balance. Yani, I don't want to take much of our time, but again, I have to, for more information, it's 6 pages, the outcomes. You can go through this, and for Aqua, you can scan this QR. You can find all our training programs, our projects, our setup, our legal specs, everything. Thank you. Hopefully that I did it in proper time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khaldun. Certainly very useful, and we also will make sure to disseminate these 6 pages from Arab Water Week. And you, of course, obviously, I underlined a couple of important issues I'd like to just also highlight once again to make sure these the water issues are covered by the National Adaptation Plan, National Determination Contribution. So of countries linking very strongly with the climate discussion. Of course, everything, when we talk about in the region, everything is boiled down to the water scarcity and how we really, what strategy and what tools we have to effectively use to be able to address. And then you also underline the partnership with the GWOPA and also promoting more water operator partnership approach in the region. And again, one other aspect that also was part of the recommendation is wastewater reuse and also partnership with the GIZ and also other partner. So you talk about water budget, it's also critical elements, and importantly, this is now is part of the policy actually makers, Arab Water Ministerial Councils. So it's really is tying to the how policy makers are going to address these issues. So with that, in fact, we normally should have Engineer Mohammed Nasir. He's CEO of the Water Sector Regulatory Council of the Palestinian. Unfortunately, his visa didn't make it on time, so he couldn't travel. He would have spoken about the policy and regulations on water sector, and maybe we will come back to this. I think we have at least two distinguished guests from Jordan, and also Mr. Khaldun can actually maybe speak a little bit on that. So I would like to actually go to our online speaker now. So we have Dr. Yusuf Mbaizuni. He's a country representative of International Water Management Institute. If we maybe project him on the screen. He's going to talk about a little bit on the issue of non-conventional water supply and water treatment, recycling, and desalination. So that's part of the strategy in a way to help us how we deal with the water scarcity and how we best use our water, limited water resources in the region. So we just give us a little moment. I think our tech colleague are figuring out how to get him in the next line.
Hi, everyone.
Yes, I see Yusuf. Mr. Yusuf is connected. Thank you for joining us remotely. So screen is yours.
Perfect. Thank you very much. First, let me thank you, host, and thank the COPA team for this amazing events. And obviously, I need to thank the convener of this session, Aqua, with who we are entertaining very strong collaboration ties. Please, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, everything looks great. So go ahead, please.
Perfect. So my talk, so first I am Dr. Yusuf Brouzin. I represent IMI, International Water Management Institute in the North Africa and Middle East region from our regional office in Cairo in Egypt. I couldn't make it to the event, unfortunately, but today I will try to invest my next 9 minutes in two concepts, let's say, transition to non-conventional water, but I will a little bit probably focus on wastewater treatment as a type of non-conventional water. And then I will try to reflect on how collaboration can help in the transition to non-conventional water. So briefly, we are all experts here. We all know that the MENA region, most of the governments are working hard to increase the ratio of non-conventional water in their national water budget. So in this figure, you can see how important is the wastewater in the water budgets in the countries, and this is actually about how what's the percentage of municipal wastewater is treated safely in the MENA region. So you can see it's growing, and in this chart we've got the contribution of regions to the capacity in terms of desalination, and obviously we've got major players in the MENA in this industry. So both are growing, but there are still a lot of challenges and bottlenecks to address. At UMI, we had a chance to lead a regional project called Rewater MENA. It was funded by SIDA, and we focused on 3 countries, Egypt, Jordan, and Lebanon, and we had a chance to work with many international and regional organizations in these three countries. In Jordan, we collaborated with Aqua. So in this project, we departed from the concept that wastewater is definitely a problem from pollution, health issues and risks, and also part of the solution if we took benefits from this resource. So we tried to update the data about the potential. So we looked at the potential side. So obviously with the population growth and development in our region, the wastewater production is growing. So the potential is growing. We also sensed the increase in terms of reuse projects, because treating water is good, wastewater is good, but we need also increase and enhance the reuse part. So according to our estimations, in 2020, we identified 409 successful reuse projects in the MENA region, which is good. We already identified all of them, so they are accessible in our database. So please just type Rewater MENA, and it should be the first result on Google. So we have identified these reuse projects. Obviously, the situation is uneven across countries, across part of the MENA region, and also the users are different. So according to our estimations, I'd say 60% of the municipal water, wastewater is treated in the MENA with obviously different potentialities, different, even quality of treatment and performance of treatment is different. And these are related to technical and technological bottlenecks. The potential in the wastewater industry is coming also not only from water that will be reused to relieve the water scarcity. So there is also a load of organic matter and also salts and sediment and other elements that we can take benefit from. And obviously we've got pathogens and pollutants that need to be removed. So in terms of nutrients and other elements, we even did a kind of estimation about, for example, 2.6 million hectares can be irrigated and fertilized using the nutrient that can be recovered from wastewater in the region. And also we give also even an estimation about how many households, 8 million households can benefit from electricity if we take benefits from the methane that can be recovered from this resource. So it's a waste if we decide to make it waste. So here are a list of bottlenecks, of challenges that we studied very deeply in this project along our partners. So we've got institutional fragmentation that is not enabling the environment for this industry, very firm over stringent regulations, some economic related issues, technological issues, as I mentioned previously, and also cultural and social acceptance issues. The thing that I need to reflect on here is that in our assessments and our analysis, we gave kind of toolbox some hints to overcome these issues in the MENA region. But one thing was in common between all these 5 challenges is collaboration. Collaboration can help in solving all these issues. Collaboration between sectors and administrations, for example, to solve the fragmentation. Collaboration between the agriculture industry dealing with export, for example, of fruit and vegetables, and the water administration, between investors and the utilities and water management administration to sort out the costs recovery issues. And by the way, we think that the cost benefit analysis need to be very specific and updated for this kind of industries. And the same for the technological barriers. Collaboration between governments, research centers, universities can do a lot in this regard, and the same for the social and cultural barriers. So here just a chart representing how diversified and complicated the institutional setting in our region. This can be different from country to country, but as I said, collaboration and dialogue can do a lot to relieve this fragmentation and lack of integration. Before to end, I would like to enlighten and to share a few words about one of our recent initiatives launched by UMI. It's called Transformative Futures for Water Security Initiative. It's a initiative launched by UMI worldwide, but we focused on the global south, where we try to rethink and reshape the missions that need to be targeted by everyone, all stakeholders, to achieve water security. So it's kind of jointly agreed missions and objectives to achieve water security. In this initiative, we carried out kind of dialogues, high-level dialogues by region. So we had the MENA chapter, and we had chance to collaborate with regional organizations, including Aqua. So it was very interesting, really interesting, and we defined a kind of missions that need to be targeted by everyone, and they were all agreed by all stakeholders. In these dialogues, we have representatives from government, research, youth organization, finance, private sector, etc., etc. And they agreed these missions. I will not go through all of them, but we have some of them about data, about inclusion, how to address agriculture as the largest water consumer in the region, and meanwhile very important and strategic for the food security, etc. We will be very happy. I mean, either us, EMI, or Aqua can share this mission, and we will start very soon to select the ones on which we will be working with our partners. So it is a call to everyone to join us in this journey. I will be very happy to take any questions. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much. It's really quite interesting, the database you have presented to us. Can we keep him in the screen, please? So this is especially for the water reuse projects. That seems to be quite rich database there, and then we are able to actually identify where is happening and which challenges they are proposing. You also shared interesting statistics that's only 60% of water is being treated in the region to different degree.
Municipal water.
Yeah, municipal water to different degree and quality. And of course, that's also really rings the alarm, a lot of bells for what we need to look at it, because it's just municipal water. I assume there is all industrial water that is not sort of accounted. So which means a lot of actually our water resources are being untreated and is being sort of like discharged to the nature, to the underground water system, so to aquifers. So it's something that we need to look at it. And you also sort of like touch on, and you kind of like list a couple of like the sort of like challenges, institutional, cultural issues, all the regulations being stringent, but you really emphasized the role of the collaboration, which is really exactly what we also promote. Let's come together. We are in this together. So partnership can actually make differences. So that's also important to highlight. And with that, I would like to actually go to our next online speaker. I don't know if we can get him, Dr. Nizar Zaid. He's a manager of agriculture, water resource, rural development, economic, social infrastructure sector at Islamic Development Bank. Dr. Nizar is with us.
Hear me?
Yes, we can see you now. I think you're on the screen now. So Dr. Nizar is going to tell us a little bit about the bank sort of like strategy, what instruments are available to water utilities and especially water sector, how we can sort of like reach them, and there's also what's happening from the bank sides in terms of financing utilities, water sector in the region. Screen is yours.
Thank you very much. Will you project in the presentation, or I have to do it myself?
Yes, we will project. We
Please,
do have.
Thank you.
Do we have? We don't have it, so can you share it from your end?
Yeah, no problem. You want me to do it?
Yes, please.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Just,
Yeah, when it comes, I'll let you know. So we're still waiting for it to.
you mean waiting for it from your side or from my side?
From your side, it hasn't been projected yet, so it hasn't been shared.
Okay, let me see the
I
option
think
quickly.
we just lately inserted into the folder. Can you just check it? We should have it.
Sorry for the.
No worries. Just
Okay. Can you see it?
yeah, it's on the screen.
Great, excellent. With a little bit of a problem, but I think everything is okay. So good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for the UN Habitat and for Aqua for inviting us for this side event. And sorry we couldn't make it to be with you there. First of all, maybe quickly overview of what is the Islamic Development Bank, but I'll be very, brief. I will not bother you much with this, simply because to note that the Islamic Development Bank is a group. There is the bank itself, ISDB, but it has also a number of affiliates or institutes for research, for insurance. We call ISEC, ICD is the private sector, ITFC, it's for trade finance. And we have also established in 2005 a small fund for developing countries. Also, quick overview of the bank. As you can see in the red color, we are spread all over the world on over 4 continents, from Suriname, which is in the Caribbean, in the Latin America region, all the way to Indonesia, and all these countries. These are 57 countries spreading over four continents, and we have a very good presence actually worldwide through 11 hubs, regional hubs. We call them regional offices, basically, where people undertake the transactions. And now, of course, as you know, there was the COVID, etc., and the food security crisis recently. So we had to revise our strategy. Our strategy essentially is anchored around 2 pillars. One is green and resilient and sustainable infrastructure. And here it covers water, necessarily agriculture and rural development on one hand, and urban development and water and sanitation on the other. Of course, Mahmoud, there was previous mention about the climate change. It's also cross-cutting area in our activities. What are the products how do we finance projects? Basically, we have essentially 2 modes of financing, or 2 measure instruments. One is concessional financing, including loans, grants, TA loans, TA grants, etc. And we have the other modes of financing, which are called leasing, installment sale, etc. All these, they have in common one element, which is they are Sharia compliant, which means they do not bear interest, they are interest free. This is the requirement. As I told you earlier, we have many activities. We have, for instance, a scholarship program, we have a special assistance program, but the bulk of our work is essentially project financing for the public sector and for the private sector. We do a lot also of trade financing and promotion among our member countries. Regional integration also is a very important aspect of our work. Capacity development and technical cooperation are also prominent on our agenda. IDB and the water sector. Our activities in the water sector actually are guided by our water policy, and this is water sanitation policy. And this is the diagram here shows you what are the pillars of our policy. These are it's anchored around 5 pillars: universal and affordable access to water and sanitation. This is SDG 6. Water use efficiency, and here my colleague Khushman mentioned about non-revenue water, and this is exactly what we are trying to do: water use efficiency, and trying also to reduce water consumption in agriculture, because we know that the MENA region is the highest worldwide actually in terms of percentage of water used for agriculture. Capacity development and solution transfer is also very important for us. We need it's important that we build the capacity and we transfer knowledge, and we will see how we do that later on. Effective water resource management is the 4th pillar of our strategy, of our policy, sorry. And here it covers essentially how do we allocate resources among the different sectors, and how we work around transboundary waters. And the MENA region also, as it was mentioned, it's not only scarce, but it's also one of the regions where we have much transboundary water resources. The final pillar is resilient water systems. Climate change is there. Some disturbances like the pandemic recently, which affected the world and left little bit to the world. So we need really to work how to build these infrastructure and make it resilient to these activities. Our financing for the water sector, as you can see on this diagram, the lion's share, around 60% of our financing in the water sector since inception went to the MENA region. MENA and Europe, we add Turkey, actually consider Turkey as part of that regional grouping, whereas 17% went to Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa and the Latin America. I mentioned earlier that we spread over 4 continents, got almost 25% of our financing for the water sector. Here's again a diagram telling you how much did we do for each area. Water resources management, essentially it's about dams construction and this type of infrastructure. Water supply sanitation in urban and rural areas, you can see it in the middle. It got on total $3.7 billion, and irrigation also it got some important part. Our $2.7 billion were allocated to this sector. Now, of course, we saw the numbers here, what the NDB is doing, but we are all aware that reaching the universal access will require large investments. We need a lot of money, actually, and I'm sure all of you are aware of the number, $114 billion per year required to deliver universal access for safely managing water and sanitation. Basically, up to 2030, this number was released a few years ago by a report at the World Bank. So we could see what is offered by the bank and with other partners is really minimum. And why is that, actually? Why usually there is always and it was mentioned also in the original presentation, why investments are falling behind needs? Simply because the sector services are often underpriced. Water is not priced at the right price. So poor record for cost recovery. This is the number one. Number two, water infrastructure is capital intensive. We put a lot of money, actually. There's a lot of costs, as we say, high initial investment for load. But when it comes to payback period, when it comes to cost recovery, it takes a long time. So there is a reluctance, actually, to invest in this sector. Then, of course, the business model, the existing business models. And here, there are problems, actually, with operation and maintenance. So we do finance projects, but unfortunately, the operation and maintenance is not at the level it should be. And this creates, of course, problems in terms of sustainability of the infrastructure. Also, we have to remember that we talk a lot about the MDBs, multilateral development banks, international financial institutions, etc. But the reality is that 75% of water financing comes from public sources, actually from governments. And this is true particularly for the GCC region, particularly where they have private resources, actually through PPP. Many desalination plants, like Yusuf will talk about non-conventional waters, etc. These are actually financed. When you talk about desalination, these usually are financed through PPP with heavy involvement of the private sector. As I said, the MDBs and the IFIs just represent a minor source in absolute terms, but that's the interesting point here, that they carry a lot of influence, basically, in terms of policy, in terms of a range of products, in terms of how to influence, actually, the policy setting in different countries, particularly in countries where we are doing some lending, like Lebanon, like Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, etc. I wanted, because we are today actually talking in the 5th GWOPA conference, and it was about the WOPs, etc. I wanted to share with you some information about something similar to WOPs, which we call ISDB reverse linkage program. I hope I'm not too long. I hope I'm
go ahead, because we had one speaker didn't join us, so we still have a little more time.
So I'll take half an hour. No,
but
just kidding.
Don't please speak, because we have one more speaker. We like to also keep some time for discussion.
Thank you very much. No problem. So reverse linkage program, basically, schematically, yeah, the reverse linkage program is a WOP, but not only for the water sector. It's actually technical, as you can see, its definition, its technical cooperation mechanism. IDBs, member countries, they exchange knowledge, expertise, technology, etc., to develop their capacities and devise solutions for their autonomous development. I mean, this is, in a nutshell, what it is. As you can see through these three circles, the bank would play a role of connector and catalyst, like UN Habitat more or less is playing, I think, in the WOPs. And then we try to match the capacities available in providing member countries with the needs of another country, which we call recipient member countries. So of course, this is the basic model of three parties, but it can involve other parties if we have more financiers or more partners who wanted to join that. So this is the tripartite: provider country, recipient country, and the bank playing the role of connector and catalyst. So of course, to succeed in this, there should be a strategic alignment actually in this relationship, basically. So it should be aligned with the country's development priorities. I mean, this is very evident, of course. I mean, in both countries, and it should be inclusive. What does it mean, inclusive here? Which means we believe that each and every member country in the Islamic Development Bank can offer something to the rest. Each country can offer to the 56 other countries, actually, basically, so inclusiveness. Then, of course, win-win arrangement. Everybody has to win. I mean, this is quite evident. I mean, learning process is reciprocal, and there are spillover effects. The fourth, actually, dimension of the reverse linkage, there should be ownership and commitment. And here, when we talk about commitment, basically, we require even the recipient country to contribute to the relationship, either in kind or even financially, in one way or the other, so that we can create the ownership. And then, of course, it's a peer-to-peer approach, which means we don't come up necessarily with ready-made solutions, but rather we try to devise solutions and programs, actually, which are specific to each local context, to specific needs. So the partners work together to find a specific solution to a specific project, to a specific issue. What are the qualifying criteria? Quickly, as I said earlier, provider and recipient contribute to the project, both in cash and in kind. Expertise. Institution must excel in its specialization and has proven capacity and record, etc. And then, of course, they should be willing to work, to share, and to work together. How does it work? Essentially, we initiate the project, so we define the needs, and that's what we call diagnostic mission and peer-to-peer approach. So it's like dating, people dating each other, basically, at the beginning, preparation. Then, of course, there is the design framework. There is here a follow-up mission and fine-tuning. And then, of course, the last step is the approval and the implementation, monitoring and evaluation. One example we have actually in the water sector, I mean, here we have ONE, which is Office National de l'Electricité. It's the water utility in Morocco. It provides expertise to Burkina Faso, another water utility here, and essentially helping them in terms of water analysis, in terms of water quality, in terms of, because unfortunately, Burkina Faso had gaps actually in these areas, and ONE was required actually to help them in this. What's important to mention that one utility could be in one project a recipient, and in other project or other relationship, it could be also a provider of expertise. I mean, it's not really like fixed relationship. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is quite interesting, especially the last, the tripartite partnership reverse linkages is very much resembles to the WOP approach. But is it like only do you have several sector, or is any sector basically, right?
Absolutely. It could be in health, it could be in transport, it could be in energy, it could be in any area where the countries express needs and they work together in solving specific problems. For example, we can give you another example. We worked between Suriname and Malaysia in rice cultivation. Yeah. So there was a selection of different varieties of rice, etc. Yeah. And Malaysia or for example, livestock breeding between Indonesia and Kyrgyzstan. And the beauty of this, colleagues, is that it could create some really unexpected relationships,
Yeah.
like Indonesia working with Kyrgyzstan, but the countries are really welcoming this, our member countries.
Yeah.
So as I said in my introduction, it's really a WOP, but wider than the water sector.
Okay, thanks a lot. And actually, I also want to comment on the ONE. ONE is a Moroccan public utility. Actually, they were mentee for several years under some of the GEOPA water operator partnership. They benefited. They later on became a mentor, and they kind of like sort of replicated their experience with the several other actually sub-Saharan Africa countries. So within our EU WAP program, they are supporting Senegal, for example. I didn't know they were also having program and supporting Burkina Faso. It's really great example of like how sort of solidarity-based partnership build capacity, and then they can also reach out to the others, sort of like replicate the model. So with that, I also, there's a lot of issue really you highlighted. I want to pick up few areas. So this is one, basically the water is fifth pillar of the bank strategy, and that's really important to highlight. MENA, although recipient of like 57% of the bank sort of like investment on water, and also did a little math to summarize. It's like 4.5 billion resources went to water resources management and supply. Mm-hmm. So it's I don't have any other number to compare whether this is really a huge number. If you look at the number itself, it's huge, 4.6 billion. It shows the two things. Is where one is the level of the need. Even you say this actually is under-financed. It is still is not enough. There's way too much needs to be actually put there. But it also shows the level of the challenge and level of the requirement we have actually in these areas to that we need more resources to put it there. So interesting you said water in the region is underpriced. Maybe we can have a little bit discussion later on what does it mean, and of course we know the rate of return is not going to be typically very sort of like a short time because it's going to be quite some time to recover from that, but we will come to that point maybe later. So with that, I actually want to go to our last speaker. Engineer Khalid Obadian he's with us. Oh, sorry. So why we miss you? I don't. I want to actually go back to the capacity part. Actually, capacity part where Mr. Ahmed will talk about the capacity of the utilities and what we're learning and getting from Jordan. So he's with the ministry's just sorry, I need to utilities performance monitoring unit in Jordan. This is one of the unit is I think is on its way to be a regulator in Jordan. So Mr. Ahmed Al-Azam, Dr. Ahmed Al-Azam will take us through the challenge of the capacity.
First of all, good evening for all of you, and thank you for being here after such a long day. So thank you, Emre, twice. First of all, for such a good introduction, and the second part for inviting all of us to be here. So thanks for GUPA as well as for UN Habitat. So I heard also that we can also speak in Arabic, and this language will be translated to other languages. So as it is for the first time for me, I will not lose this chance to speak in Arabic language. The second thing, so I wanted to say why I am here. I am here in this session for three reasons. The first reason, I worked with the Ministry of Water and Irrigation for 22 years, and I was as an Assistant Secretary General for Training and Administration. The second thing, I also worked with Arab Countries Water Utilities Association, ACWA, and thanks for them for inviting me to participate in this session, and I was working there as an administration and training director. The third thing where I am really going to concentrate on this also, that at present and since 2019, I am working as a Utilities Performance Monitoring Unit, UPMU director. This unit was established in 2019 with 100% support by GIZ and KfW. So GIZ have supported us financially as well as strategically, and so that's why with logistics also. And really I want to get the chance on behalf of the Ministry of Water and Irrigation and UPMU to thank the director of a cluster of water in Jordan, Mr. Trevor Surridge, and it is a good chance that he is present amongst the audience. Thank you, Trevor. So up to date, we have achieved 3 reports, monitoring report, and we are going to achieve the 4th one within a month, inshallah. So I'll give, first of all, as I told you, some brief introduction, and I am going to talk about the training which are being held in Arab region as well as in the Arab and Jordan water utilities. So we would like also to thank ACWA for their great efforts in doing a lot of things. So this is their mandate, bringing together active water experts, dimensions also of and the exchange informations of technology and best practices, capacity development of water utilities staff, and conducting studies, implementing also a lot of projects and provisions, and last, promoting certification and accreditation amongst in Arab region as well as in water utilities. Some of the recommendations were held by our reports that we should concentrate as water utilities on training programs. That's why we would like to say that again, ACWA is frequently conducting a deep training needs survey from time to time and analysis so that they can follow up all the latest technology to give the water utilities in the exactly and see exactly what training programs are needed. So that's why in management type they have conducted a survey, and they were asking about whether you need a technical support and training. The second thing also regarding the operation, they have also did a big survey, and we were asking that whether they need a technical support as well as a training. So now I'll switch, as I said that, to Arabic language to get this chance to talk in Arabic. So الخدمات التي يتم تقديمها من قبل الجمعية العربية لمرافق المياه، وهي كما نعرف هي تم تطوير العديد من البرامج التدريبية في المنطقة العربية من خلال أكوا والخبراء العاملين فيها. أيضا هذه البرامج منها معتمد من العديد من الجهات الاعتماد العالمية مثل الووتر بروفيشنال انترناشونال والاي بي سي في امريكا وعده جهات اخرى، ومنها مركز الاعتماد وضبط الجوده في الاردن او هيئه الاعتماد للبرامج التدريبيه في الاردن والتي تتبع الى وزاره العمل الاردنيه. هذه البرامج، هذه جزء من البرامج اللي هي معتمده الان من قبل هيئه الاعتماد في الاردن، ويتم تدريبها في مرافق المياه الأردنية ومرافق المياه العربية. هذه بعض البرامج اللي أيضا تم اعتمادها من البروفيشنال أو الووتر بروفيشنال انترناشونال they called it اللي هي WPA، وهي أيضا العديد من البرامج التي تتحدث عن أو تعمل على معالجة المياه، وهي 4 مستويات، توزيع المياه وهي أيضا 4 مستويات، نوعية المياه، خطط المحافظة على المياه، والمياه بغير العائد اللي هي non revenue water أو المياه التي لا يتم فوترتها. هذه أيضا البرامج أخرى أيضا تم اعتمادها من قبل الجمعية العربية، تم إعدادها من قبل الجمعية العربية لمرافق المياه، وتم اعتمادها من الجهات العالمية، مثل تجميع مياه الصرف الصحي، معالجة المياه الصرف الصحي ب4 مستويات، وإدارة المياه الصناعية ب4 مستويات، وأيضا إدارة مياه الصرف الصحي والمختبرات ب4 مستويات. هناك بعض البرامج التدريبية التي تم إعدادها من قبل الجمعية العربية لمرافق المياه، والتي تم عمل أيضا فيها مسح ميداني وتحليل، إلا أنها هذه البرامج هي تساعد خلينا نقول اللي هي شركات المياه على مستوى الوطن العربي، وأيضا تم تدريب هذه البرامج في اللي يسموها مرافق المياه الأردنية. هذه التولز أو هذه اللي تم استخدامها اللي هي قامت بتطويرها أكوا، تعمل على حوكمة قطاع المياه من خلال العديد من البرامج التدريبية، وأذكر منها يعني في مثلا الووتر اللوكيشن، الووتر اكاونتنج، الهيلث اند سيفتي، في مجالات الصرف الصحي اذكر منها ايضا الفاينانسنج موديلينج والاستراتيجيك يوتيليتيز. هذه ايضا برامج اخرى تم اعتمادها في مجال الجي اي اس وفي مجال الصرف الصحي. ايضا هذه البرامج الان يتم تطبيقها في العديد من الدول العربية، حيث قامت أكوا بتدريب، عندما كنت أعمل أيضا في أكوا بتدريب العديد من خبراء المياه في الوطن العربي، واللي عندنا حوالي 106 مرافق مياه على مستوى الوطن العربي أعضاء في الجمعية العربية لمرافق المياه. نروح لموضوع التويننج، وهو موضوع مهم جدا لغايات تبادل الخبرات ومعرفة ما هي نقاط القوة عند هذه الشركة، والنقاط التي يوجد فيها جزء من الضعف في الشركة الأخرى، ويتم بناء عليه تبادل هذه المجالات أو تبادل المعرفة في هذه المجالات. وقد تم تطوير أيضا اللي هو يسموه أكوا ديفلوبينج تويننج موديل بالدعم كامل من الUSAID. عندنا هناك عملوا سيرفي فيما يتعلق بالتويننج، وهناك العديد من الأسئلة التي تتحدث عن التوأمة ومجال تبادل المعلومات، وأيضا بيان نقاط الضعف ونقاط القوة في المرافق المياه اللي هو في المنطقة العربية. من هذه خلينا نقول الشريحة تم إدراج العديد من الأسئلة فيما يتعلق بالمرافق لبيان المشاكل والعوائق والحواجز التي تؤثر على أداء المرافق. أخيرا نحكي أنه أكوا عملت في الأردن وفي المنطقة العربية، وقامت بتدريب العديد من الموظفين والخبراء العاملين في قطاع المياه، ونذكر منهم أنه حوالي 1294 هذول سيرتيفايد ترينيز، و586 تم تدريبهم وحصولهم على شهادة تدريب من قبل الجمعية العربية لمرافق المياه. أيضا تم تدريب 136 مدرب وحاصلين على شهادة ومعتمدة دوليا كمدربين وهي TOT، وقاموا بتدريب 15 متدرب على برامج اللي هو تدريب الخبراء عن كيفية تطوير البرامج، حيث تم تدريب 8 من جمهورية مصر العربية والباقي من الأردن ومختلف الدول العربية الأخرى. أنا آسف جدا على الإطالة وشكرا لكم وجاهز لأي سؤال بعون الله. Thank you for all and I am ready to answer the questions later. Sorry?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Actually, I have a questions probably. I will ask my question right away. So the question is always, we've been also asked all the time, and all those trainings, we provide so many trainings, so many things. How much really this training is making differences and how much the capacity really improved? How do you measure those capacity of those staff that is being trained and going through various training? Not now, please. So we just give it. We'll have some time to answer. This is really great. Thanks a lot for your contribution. And it's also like a topic of twinning is also certainly interesting to see, especially for GEOPA, for us to see how you have designed that sort of like manual. So we see how we can also benefit from that knowledge. With that, I'd like to go our last speaker. So our last speaker is engineer Khalid Obidian, senior engineer from Aqaba Water Company from Jordan. So he's going to actually talk about the tech part, innovation, especially digitization. So digitization is one area that we are also quite interested to look at it. He's going to explain a little bit more what Aqaba company has done and what your experience is and how we can also make use of that experience in the region. So please come.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Imra. Thank you for the audience to have been. Today, I will talk about the Aqaba Water Company experience in digitalization, and actually, I will go as doctor, since there is Arabic translation, so I will take this utilization. So I will talk in Arabic. And I feel that if even I'm here in German, but I can talk Arabic too, it's good. أهلا وسهلا. راح أحكي لكم تجربة شركة مياه العقبة في التحول، خلينا نحكي للسمارت يوتيليتي. السمارت يوتيليتي المرافق المياه، خلينا نحكي الذكيه. والحقيقه ليش احنا رحنا، هي ليست نوع من انواع الرفاهيه ولا الترف، هي بل بالعكس هي كانت من الادوات القويه في اداره مرافق المياه. راح احكي عن شركه مياه العقبه. شركه مياه العقبه هي اول شركه انشئت في الاردن في عام 2004، وهي كانت معنية بتحسين العمليات المياه والصرف الصحي وتقديمها في منطقة العقبة الاقتصادية الخاصة في مدينة العقبة. وهي لها مالكان، يملكها سلطة المياه حوالي 85% الحكومي و15% شركة تطوير العقبة، وهي بالأساس أصلا هي public company، يعني كلها مملوكة بالحكومة. هذه منطقة الخدمة في محافظة العقبة. عفوا أنا نسيت. هذه منطقة الخدمة في محافظة العقبة. طبعا باللون الأصفر خلينا نحكي هي منطقة العقبة الاقتصادية الخاصة. لا، محافظة العقبة ومنطقة العقبة الاقتصادية الخاصة هي جزء من قضية محافظة العقبة. طبعا عدد السكان 222,800 نسمة، وبالإضافة إلى ذلك إحنا أخذنا عقود إدارة تشغيل 3 محافظات الجنوبية اللي هي معان والطفيلة والكراك. وبالتالي إذا بتطلع على مساحة المملكة الأردنية الهاشمية بتلاقي أكثر من نصف مساحة المملكة صارت تحت إدارة شركة مياه العقبة. رح نيجي أول إشي بالفيجن. شو هي فيجن الشركة؟ الفيجن الشركة أنها تكون متميزة في الإدارة والتشغيل في قطاع المياه والصرف الصحي، وتكون مركز تميز أيضا ليست يعني محليا بل إقليميا. عفوا، هذا الفيجن تبع شركة مياه العقبة. لو طلعنا على الكي بي ايز مقارنة من 2004 لنهاية 2022 بنلاقي فيه تحسن، سواء كان في الفيكس اسيتس. طبعا شركة مياه العقبة هي شركة ذو مسؤولية محدودة، وبالتالي هي تملك الأصول وليست كمثل الشركات الأخرى في الأردن. فإذا بنطلع على الأصول وبنطلع على أعداد المشتركين والوصلات الصرف الصحي، بنلاحظ في ارتفاع كبير حتى على مستوى الشبكات المياه والصرف الصحي. لو بنحكي عن الأرقام، في نسبة المخدومين في المياه أصبح 100%. فاقد المياه كانت 37 صارت 33، ونسبة المخدومين في الصرف الصحي برضو وصلت 86%. راح نحكي هون الانتليجنت ترانسفورميشن، كيف شركة أو تجربة شركة مياه العقبة وصلنا لمسألة هذا. طبعا أكيد شركة مياه العقبة بتتعامل بالقطاع، وهو القطاع الذي يعني فيه تحديات كبيرة في الأردن، ومن تحدياتها كميات المياه فيها نقص، في نقص في المياه، في فاقد مياه، في فاتورة الكهرباء أو خلينا نحكي مرتفع بالنسبة في قطاع المياه، وهذه من الشغلات المهمة. بالتالي من المشاكل كان لابد من التفكير في آلية اللي أنك تستطيع كيف أن تواجه أو تحل هذه المشاكل. بالتالي رحنا أول إشي بسموها بميثودولوجي، منهجية أو طريقة كيف أنه نشتغل على قضية الانتليجنت ترانسفورميشن. أول إشي إحنا لابد أنه نسوي نطلع على الريسورسز اللي عندنا. فكان أول إشي لازم نركز تو كابيتالايز زي ما بيحكوها على الخبراء والفنيين والحقيقة، واللي هي يعني للأمانة شركة مياه العقبة فيها من الكفاءات العالية جدا في هذا المجال. بعدها طبعا لابد بعد من الجسمو أنه يصير مشاريع، لازم يكون في مشاريع من أجل تنفيذها لقضية الأتممة اللي صارت. طبعا احنا مشان نشتغل لابد انه كان فيها تغيير، كان من الصعب بمكان مسألة التغيير من واقع العمل اللي بنشتغله الميداني او خلينا نحكي الشغل المتعارف عليه، الا انه لا تتحول للعملية الرقمية. فكان لابد من ايجاد حوافز، نظام حوافز، وبالتالي هذا كان ساعدنا في مسألة شو اسمه. وصار عندنا كمان يعني مركز للتميز، وبرضه إدارة المشاريع. هسا شو ممكن نسوي؟ طبعا احنا كنا نحكي عن قضيه انه كيف بدنا نصمم من هذا التحول. فبالتالي في عندنا على اساس انه يصير تصميم له واللي بسموها end to end، يعني من بدايه شو اسمه حتى النهايه فيها. بتعرفوا مساله الاتممه كانت اخذت صوب. معروف انه كل اعمال القطاع المياه هو عباره عن اجراءات، فكانت انه كيف تسوي أتممة هذه الإجراءات إلها ونحطها في برنامج اللي هو راح نشوفه بعدين، اللي هو بسموه الانتربرايز ريسورسز بلاننج. والمعرفة طبعا كان لابد من عمل تحليل مشان نشوف الفجوات شو اسمه، وكمان اللي هو تدريب comprehensive training على في الإدارة. طبعا في اي مجالات راح يكون في العمليات والصيانه، وراح يكون في الاسكادا، وراح يكون في خدمات الزبائن المشتركين، وفي الجي اي اس والفيلد فورس اللي هو الاوبريشن والموبايل ابلكيشن. هذا هسه راح نحكي عنه. ما هي الابروتش؟ الابروتش كانت اول شيء لازم نسوي يعني اسسمنت، هذا نعرف شو بالضبط الموجود وشو الفجوه اللي احنا بحاجه لها مشان هذا. بعدين صار سكوب على اساس تو اجري تو بي ايش اللي كنا نعمله، وفي الاخير حددنا المخرج اللي بدنا نشتغل عليه. بعدها صار implementation لهذا. ال AW resources كانت على أساس الكوادر الموجودة هي ليست بالكافية، وبالتالي كان في عندنا من كوادرنا الداخلية بالإضافة لكوادر وخبراء خارجية. Yes. Okay. So I will skip. I will go. This is challenge we see. This is what we. هذا اللي راح أفرجيه. المقصود في قضية الأتممة، إحنا دائما كنا نحكي مشاكلنا الداتا والأكيورسي للداتا، وكنا نحكي أنه الداتا لما تيجي مشان تحسب مسألة الفاقد وهذولا. فبالتالي لما تيجي تطبق أهم شيء اللي هو الريال تايم داتا، سواء كان على الأكيورسي أو أنها تيجيك المعلومة في وقتها، وهذا بيساعد في قضية المراقبة والمتابعة. من ريال تايم برضو للووتر بالانس مشان تقدر تحسب الفاقد المياه، وتحسب حتى المينيمم نايت فلو اللي هو الفاقد الفني فيها، وكذلك للطاقة مشان تحسب الطاقة وتشوف كفاءة الطاقة عندك. برضو البريشر نتورك، برضو إدارة الضغوط الشبكات كانت من الشغلات المهمة. واستخدمنا كمان أو بسموها الAMI اللي هو السمارت ميترز، وهذا انفراستراكشر بسموه الاوتو ميتر انفراستراكشر. كذلك يعني كانت الداتا تيجي ريال تايم، والريموت الاونلاين بام فايبريشن مونيتورنج سيستمز. هذا كله كان من والعناصر كانت الاساسيه في مساله هذا. طبعا السكادا كانت تعنى بمساله الاوبريشن، وكانت تعنى بمساله الفاقد، وكانت تعنى بمساله الانرجي. والنويز لوجر كانت سير انحطت مشان تعنى بمساله الفاقد الفني. الAMI اللي هي العدادات الذكيه اللي تم تركيبها في العقبه، وبالتالي هذه بتعنى بقراءات العدادات. وللامانه هسه راح نحكي في كل وحده بسرعه. طبعا البريشر مشان نحافظ على بريشر الشبكه بحيث انه ما يصير اي تسريبات، وبالتالي ما يصير في فاقد فني عالي. الانرجي سيرفر والERP، وهو كنا نحكي عنه اللي هو فوصلنا نموذج لمساله سمارت يوتيليتي. السمارت هي عباره، اذا بنلاحظ الاصل بالنص اللي هي عمليات البزنس في اي ووتر يوتيليتي، من خدمات زبائن، الفوتره، الماليه، الاوبريشن، العمليات، المشتريات والمشاريع. كله هذا مبني على فلات اللي هو فلات الGIS، لانه الGIS هو اهم داتا حقيقيه. هذا الGIS هو بفرجيك اصولك كلها واماكن الاصول. بنيجي السكادا كانت على شبكات المياه وعلى الصرف الصحي وعلى الريوز اللي هو المياه المعادة وعلى النوعية. وبنيجي على بنلاحظ على الشمال اللي هو السمارت الAMI هذا كله مربوط مع بعض بالاي ار بي اللي هو بسوي انتجريشن لكل الانظمه. طبعا الاهم من ذلك هذا كله اللي هو بيجي توب على البي اي بسموه البيزنس انتليجنت، لانه انا بتوقع اي ديسيجن ميكر لما يكون عنده داتا بيقدر ياخذ قرار وبكون القرار اسرع. هذا الجي اي اس. جي اي اس سوينا له ابديت بشركه مياه العقبه، وكان احنا سوينا ان هاوس ديفلوبمنت سي اس سواء للشبكات او حتى للكاستمر سيرفي سوينا. بالتالي صار عندنا هسه كل الداتا وتعتبر زي اونلاين او تيجينا ريال تايم داتا. فحسب سكادا، بالنسبه للسكادا هذا المركز صار السكادا الموجود في شركه مياه العقبه، وهو مشروع صحيح ممول من الامريكان من اليو اس اي، وكان كان موجود في سكادا في شركه مياه العقبه، الا انه تم تحديثه ابجريد السكادا وصار من استخداماته السكادا فيها لكل مواقع الشركه، وفي نفس الوقت تحولت بسموها السمارت ووتر يوتيليتي ديجيتال ترانسفورميشن. هذا الاوفر فيو للسكادا. هذا عن مصادر المياه. طبعا احنا بالسكادا تاخذ كميه الانتاج، استهلاك الكهرباء، كل المعلومات اللي بتهم حتى بتهم تعاون الصيانه منها. ولو جينا الاركتكتشر تبعت السكادا، طبعا اول شيء بكون في الفيلد ديفايسز اللي هي بتاخذ القراءات، بعدها بتروح للاوتوميشن، بعد الاوتوميشن بتروح للسوبرفايزري سكادا اللي هي بتاخذ كل الداتا بتسوي لها تحليل. بعدها بنطلع للبلاننج ومن ثم للانتليجنت اوبتمايزيشن. بالنسبه لشركه مياه العقبه خلصنا في الديفايسز الاوتوميشن والسكادا والبلاننج. الاي ار بي موجود، احنا هسه في مرحله التستنج على الاي او تي. هذا طبعا الاي ام اي كيف رحنا لقضيه العدادات الذكيه. طبعا بعدنا سووا تجارب، وطبعا شركه العقبه تمتاز عنها التزويد المائي باستمرار 24 ساعه، وذلك لخصوصيه منطقه عقبه اقتصاديه خاصه فيها استثمارات صناعيه وسياحيه، وبالتالي لابد من تزويدها المائي. كان من المشاكل اللي كانت تواجهها شركه مياه العقبه انه بالعدادات الميكانيكيه كان في شغله بسموها ان ريجسترد، ما كان تقراها ميكانيكي. فلما سووا تيست لقوا انه حوالي 25% تقريبا رايح فاقد بس بالعدادات. وفي نفس الوقت تعرفوا انه الفاقد هو مكونين، فاقد فني وفاقد اداري، وفاقد اداري كمان بيلعب دور كبير فيها، ومن بينها كان الاستعمال الغير مشروع. فهذا العداد اللي اجانا صار يعطينا اون تايم داتا، الاكيوريسي فيه عاليه، بعطي اليرتس اذا كان في تسريب مياه داخلي عند المشترك. في نفس الوقت بقلل من الكلف اللي كانت تشغيليه للشركه. هذا البرنامج تاع الام اي اللي من خلال البرنامج هذا بقدر لكل مشترك خلال سنه في اشهر، وبقدر في نفس الوقت في نفس الشهر الايام حتى باليوم، فبعرف استهلاك اي مشترك سواء بالساعه او باليوم او بالاسبوع او بالشهر. وعلى ضوء ذلك سوينا برنامج اي ام اي، برنامج اب له. هذا الاب صار كل مواطن يقدر يعرف فاتورته، يعرف نسبة الاستهلاك المية، وبالتالي هون بهذه التكنولوجيا قدرنا نرفع الخدمة المقدمة للمواطن. بالإضافة أنه من خلال هذا الآب أنت بتقدر نفس المشترك من هذا الآب أنه يقدر حتى يسوي اللي بسموها البيهيفير كونسومشن، يتحكم في قضية الاستهلاك. بمثل أنا بستهلك بالعادة بالشهر 20 أو 40 متر، بديش أعرف أنه ما أتجاوزها، بالتالي متى ما وصلت لهذا الحد أعطيني مسج أو أليرت. إذا yes
we need to wrap up because
okay. الAMI استخدمناها كمان في قضية كيف نتحكم في مسألة الفاقد، وبالتالي على أي DMA في عداد، ومن خلال الDMA داخل الDMA طبعا في لوبس، وهذه اللوبس اللي هي بكون الكاستمرز المشتركين. بنحسبة هذا كونه انه ريال تايم داتا، بعرف كمية المية اللي داخلة على هذه المنطقة، وبحسب كمية المية اللي من خلال العدادات المواطنين، وبالتالي أنا از ريال تايم بقدر أحسب الفاقد. وعلى ضوء ذلك بقدر حتى بالقضية سكادا بصير عندي هاي الألوان، إذا كان الفاقد عالي بعطيني لون أحمر، إذا كان within the range أخضر، إذا كان لا إشي بسيط، وبالتالي بقدر أنا أشتغل عليها. الAMI لوحده الصحيحة هذا كان من فوائده أنه نزل الفاقد الإداري من الفاقد الكلي 50%، زاد الريفينيو حوالي 47%، حافظ على الأسس تبعنا حوالي 50%، سوى ريدكشن للكوست 30%، وقلل شكاوي المواطنين حوالي 89%، وزاد العمر التشغيلي لللايف تايم للأصول. وهذا كانت الكامبين. ERP finish? Okay. Actually, this is what we are looking. I will only the last slide.
last minute.
Okay. The last slide. Actually, here, what we finished all of this until now with the IoT platform, because under the regulation of the TRC, we have to make this test. We didn't take the final approval for that. So after finishing this, I think we almost done in the transformation to digital. That's why we put that in 2025 that we will finish, will be a smart, connected enterprise, artificial intelligence, knowledge-equipped utility, and it will be a water management platform, reduce the complexity, project management, supply chain, human, and all so on.
You are swimming.
Diving, not swimming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
May I ask you to just maybe stay in the stage, because we don't have actually much time. I wish we could have a little bit more time for some question and answer. But the next plenary session starts in 10 minutes time, and we were asked to actually to make sure we finish at least 5 minutes before that session starts. We all go there. It's a very interesting discussion is also happening there. So can we also put the online speakers, two online speakers on the screen? If there is any question here, can we get maybe one or two questions before we close? And then I would also like to all of us to have a little photo, all of us together, if it's possible. Any question here in the room? No question? Yes, go ahead, please.
Actually, under the theme of this meeting is the collaboration and sharing knowledge. Why? Switch to Arabic again.
You give him less time.
Yes.
but short, please. Just one minute each. So it's not working.
هلا احنا عندنا مرافق عربيه الافشنسي تبعها عاليه. العقبه، مياهنا، اوني، سونيد واذرز. وعندنا يوتيليتي في الميدل يقدموا خدمات جيده ولكن بحاجه الى رفع الكفاءه. وعندنا يوتيليتيز بسبب الاوضاع الراهنه والبوليتيكال انرست واللي حصل في منطقتنا العربيه اصبحوا بحاجه الى دعم زايد او المشاكل الاقتصاديه زي لبنان. فالماتش ميكينج او التويننج ضروره بحيث ننقل الخبره من المرافق اللي ذات كفاءه عاليه والمرافق المتوسطه والمرافق الضعيفه، وبين المرافق الجيده مع المرافق الدوليه اللي متقدمه جدا في هذا المجال. وعشان هيك انه اكوا اتخذت قرار في مجلس الاداره عندنا في العرب ووتر ويك ان نبني بلاتفورم او ناسس بلاتفورم، وهلا اصبحت واقع بقرار مجلس الاداره حتى نبدا نبني هاي اليوتيليتيز، الماتش ميكينج بتوين يوتيليتيز. امثله بالسابق عملنا ماتش ميكينج بين العقبه ومؤسسه مياه لبنان بيروت والجبل، بين العقبه ومياه البلقه اللي الان صارت لمياهنا. وبالتالي احنا الان نتيجه البزنس ديفلوبمنت بلان اللي سويناه لليمن وللعراق وجدنا الحاجه كبيره انه نعمل ماتش ميكينج بين هذه اليوتيليتي اللي بحاجه الى كثير من الدعم والمرافق المتقدمه زي اونيس، سونيد، اوناس، مياه العقبه ومياهنا. وفي الووتر انتجريتد ووتر سورس مانجمنت وزاره المياه والري are making the best in water allocation and water accounting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
مساء الخير مرة ثانية. بدي بس أجاوب على سؤال امرأة حول التدريب. نعم، التدريب مهم جدا جدا في مرافق المياه، وخصوصا التدريب للتكنيكال بيبل، للناس الفنيين. أعطي مثال، نحن في وحدة مراقبة أداء الشركات نراقب على 3 شركات في الأردن: شركة مياه الأردن مياهنا، وشركة مياه العقبة، وشركة مياه اليرموك. لاحظنا في فترة غياب التدريب أثناء فترة كوفيد-19 لمدة 2 سنين بأنه تدنى الأداء تاع الشركات بشكل عام في بعض المواقع اللي كانت فعلا تحتاج إلى التدريب. في 2021-22 تقريبا لاحظنا من خلال اللي هو التدقيق على هذه الشركات والرقابات بأنه الأداء تحسن في معظم المرافق التي تحتاج إلى التدريب. مرة أخرى the training is needed and it is essential for all utilities in financial, administration and technical departments. Thank you.
20 seconds, please.
لا 30. Actually, in every training program, we make every day pre-exam for the attendees. At the end of the day, there is a post-exam. And nobody can get the license unless he passed by 65%. Every 2 years, we have to renew the license. And if he wants to shift from one level to the level, he has to take a 1-year practical experience that he can move to the second. By the way, never to give, even once in Iraq, one of the trainees is the son of the minister. We were requested to push him up, we didn't.
Thank you very much. Really big applause to all of our speakers, and Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nizar. So we're not going to give you back the floor. So it's, I guess Yusuf has gone already. He's done with us. So thanks a lot, colleagues, for being available. We certainly make our best to share some of these out discussions here today. Thank you.